Blue Moon has been selling its seasonal harvest pumpkin wheat since 1995. Originally called Blue Moon Pumpkin Ale, it was the very first nationally sold pumpkin beer. Is this OG pumpkin beer still worthy of a spot in your fridge, or is it past its prime? Find out now on Two Dudes Reviews. What up, guys? Yeah, today we will be diving into Blue Moon's Harvest Pumpkin Wheat. And as I'm pouring this, I'll talk a little bit. I did not realize that this was the first, according to Blue Moon, but the first widely available pumpkin beer. I did it in the intro, but back in '95, this was the OG pumpkin beer. So give a little respect. And I have a soft place for Blue Moon. I know it's basically, tricking people into thinking that it's a micro beer, and it's not really. But I think for anybody like 30 and over, or right around the age and over, who has been drinking beer for a while, there was a time where getting micro beers and even imports was pretty dang tricky. And you were kind of stuck drinking the Budweisers and all that stuff, and if that's your thing, it's your thing. No, not hating on you. But Blue Moon was almost like your gateway drug into other kinds of beers. At least for me it was. If someone's like, dude, you gotta check out this beer. You put an orange slice in it. It's like, what? And so you kind of taste this, you're like, wow, this tastes pretty refreshing. It's got more flavor than the other stuff I'm used to. And then you just kind of break out from there. So even though Blue Moon, owned by Miller Coors or Coors Molson, whatever they go by now, I will always have kind of a soft spot for them. It's not necessarily what I reach for, but just because it was that first jump out into a new world of beer, I will always kind of have that spot for it. But before I get into the review, if you want to check out my other channel, that'd be awesome. It's another booze and stuff channel. I'll put a link for it. I have a co-host. I'll put a picture of her if that entices you. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But yeah, check that out. So anyways, let's get into the review for this beer, and I already like the color. It's got that nice fall color. I just finished the Leinenkugel Harvest Patch Shandy. You can check out that review, but I don't know. I like the color, even though I don't rate the beers on colors. But all right, let's get into the smell for this. All right, it has a little bit of that nuttiness that you're gonna get from like an ale. It's got a nice. You pick up that cinnamon, the pumpkin spice a little bit. I think there's probably a little bit of clove in there. Maybe a dab of cinnamon. I like that you can actually smell the pumpkin-esque to it. I find there's actually a lot of pumpkin beers out there that you can't really taste it. I mean, you can't really smell the pumpkin part when you open it up. And to me, if you're getting a pumpkin beer, which you're only getting for like 2 months of the year at most, you want the pumpkin part of it. And so I like that you get the pumpkin aspect to it. It is brewed with real pumpkin and spices, according to the label, because labels never lie. It says it's a wheat beer. I'm not picking up as much on the wheat beer side. It does smell more like just like your kind of traditional brown ale. But I like the fact that you can actually get some of the pumpkin and spice right on the nose. To me, if you're looking for a pumpkin beer, that's a good sign. So because you're getting that, I'm going to recommend it on the smell. So alright, let's get into the taste. Alright. Okay, again, to me it tastes more like a brown ale than a wheat beer. But I like that. I really do enjoy a good wheat beer, especially during the summertime. But as you kind of segue from the warmer months into the cooler to cold to frigid to why the hell am I still living in a freezing tundra weather, I want the beers to be kind of heartier, darker, kind of fill your soul up with some life. And I like, even though it says it's a wheat, it tastes to me kind of like, like a brown, and you get some of that nuttiness to it. And I like that. I like that it's doing that. It doesn't necessarily share a lot of the same flavor notes as your regular Blue Moon wheat. And maybe they just, I'm sure they do brew it as a wheat, but it's probably a slightly different wheat recipe for that aspect than your Blue Moon. But I like that. So I like that part. You do get some pumpkin. You do get some, I think I'm going to go with clove. A little bit of a nutty clove to it. There is some, a hair of bitterness to it. It's not super sweet. So if you, it's not definitely to the point of an IPA, don't get me wrong, but there is a little bit of bitterness to it. So there's a nice, they obviously are using at least some kind of a hop to it to give it that, a bit of the bitterness to it. And I don't know, I think it's, I wouldn't say it's knock your socks off the greatest pumpkin beer you're gonna find. Even though I did just pick up pretty much every pumpkin beer I could find at the store, so I'll have more reviews of those coming out to compare. But I think, for the most part, it's pretty decent. I have no qualms with it. When you want just kind of a beer with some pumpkin in it, I'll recommend it. So yes, I will recommend it on the taste. I think it's, it's not bad. Sometimes you just don't know what to expect with some of these things, but yeah, I'll go with that. So all right, value for price. You know what a Blue Moon costs. This costs pretty much the exact same thing. You're going to pay for a regular Blue Moon. If you buy a single, you can get a single for less than $2. If you buy, a 6-pack, what is that? It's like $7.99, something like that. I guess it just depends where you live. But yeah, in terms of seasonal beers with pumpkin-esque flavoring to it, you're not going to find too many that are priced lower than this until the day Budweiser releases a Bud Pumpkin version, or a Bud Clamato with pumpkin instead of tomato. I don't know how that would go, but yeah, you're not going to find too many pumpkin-based beers that are less than this. So yeah, I will recommend it for value for price. Alright, next is distinction. How distinct is it from other pumpkin beers? It's pumpkin-y. I wouldn't say it's necessarily distinct. A lot of the pumpkin beers use the clove and the cinnamon to kind of go with it, because I think pumpkin on its own probably wouldn't work, so you need those spices. So it's not necessarily all that distinct. Not that that's a terrible thing. Sometimes you just want an easy to drink, not too complex, crazy beer, and this fits the bill. But since it's not all that distinct, I'll give it a half. There's nothing. It's right in the middle kind of thing. It's not crazy, but it's not terrible. It's not super distinct, but it's not bad. So I'll give it a half for distinction. All right, next category is drinkability. Are you going to be able to get through these real quickly? It's I'm trying to look at the alcohol. It is 5.7% alcohol by volume, which I'm a little surprised at. I did not think it'd be that high. I'm not sure off the top of my head what a regular Blue Moon is, but I'd probably guess a regular Blue Moon is maybe 4.3, 4.5, something like that. So not a bad alcohol content. you're getting close to almost towards that lower IPA level. And again, that's why I feel like it tastes more like a brown ale than a wheat, because your average wheat beer is not as high in alcohol content. Drinkability, for me, at least for like spiced and flavored beers, kind of like this, I can't usually drink. I guess I get tired of it. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't have much of a sweet tooth, and so maybe one or two things, but after that, it's like I don't need it anymore. With the sugar, it's kind of in that category. Maybe you could do it, and you just love it, and you just gotta keep drinking the pumpkin beers. But for me, I think after one or two, I'd be like, okay, I gotta switch to something else. It's just I get the pumpkin enough, and I like pumpkin. So I'm gonna give it a half on that. It's fine. It's not a hard beer to drink, but I just think after one or two, it's like I gotta go to something else. And all right, last category is would I buy it again? And honestly, yes, I think I would. It's if I just want a fine, drinkable pumpkin beer that I know what to expect, and I don't want any surprises, I'm gonna go with this. Because the problem is with the pumpkin, and it goes into the Christmas beers, the holiday beers, as you get more the spices involved. You oftentimes don't know what to expect, and that's often even like from a year-to-year basis, because a lot of the breweries will switch up the spices and kind of tinker with the recipe from year to year. So you don't always know what you're going to get, and sometimes you just don't really feel like experimenting. You want just a pumpkin beer, and that's it. And you don't want to, open it up and be like, this doesn't taste like pumpkin, or why the hell did you mix this with a shandy? That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I will buy it again. So next time I just feel like, let's just get some pumpkin beers. I think for the time being, this might be my go-to just pumpkin beer. For now, I still have more pumpkin beers to try out, but yeah, that is, so I will be buying it again, most likely. But anyways, that is my review of Blue Moon's Harvest Pumpkin Wheat, the original pumpkin wide sold beer in the United States. So, gotta give at least props to that. And yeah, that is it. I'd love if you liked and subscribed, shared, whatever. Let me know what you think. Let me know if was Blue Moon your kind of like segue into more beers. I think if you're younger, probably not, because there's a million options now. But if you're, I think 30 and older, that Blue Moon might have been the thing that got you into other beers. But let me know if that's true too. Maybe it's just me. And yeah, that is about it. So for myself and Mr. Harvest Pumpkin Wheat, take it easy.